Welcome to a special episode of Tomboy T-Ride. Yes, not Tirade or T-Rade, but T-Ride, the way we like to say it. And we are Asia's biggest and only all-female comedy chat podcast. I am Raven, your host for today. Right now, I'm waiting for Nick and Lisa, the contestants from the latest season of The Amazing Race Asia, and the first ever LGBT couple to be ever featured on the show. So if you're in Singapore right now, the show is airing every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Let the race begin in 3, 2, 1, go!
The Amazing Race Asia is coming back, and I'm looking for 10 teams to join me for the race. If you can pack really fast, this is how I pack. If you can keep your cool. And if you're outgoing and ready to make many new friends, then you're the ones up for the challenge. So what are you waiting for? Click on the button right here to sign up now.
Hi, Nick and Lisa.
Hi.
For your next challenge, you need to answer a few questions for the Tomboy T-Rod Comedy Chat podcast. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
Yes, we're ready.
Great! So tell us about your background. How do both of you meet?
Okay, so actually it's sort of magical that you interviewed us at this time because we met almost exactly to the day 5 years ago on a blind date. So we had one mutual friend. We didn't know each other. We had a mutual friend that just said, oh, I have this friend, Lisa, you should meet her. And I was single and not finding love in Ho Chi Minh City at the time. So I thought, okay, I'll go. And I walked into the restaurant and, the rest is history.
Yeah.
5 years? That's so awesome.
So, so I am a, psychologist. I do behavior analysis. I work mostly with kids with autism and, ADHD and different learning problems. And
I work for Nick. Nick's my boss, so I handle the business side of things.
Yeah, we work well together, so that works. So yeah, I run a private practice here in Ho Chi Minh, yeah.
I watched the show, so I follow it from the beginnings. How do you both of you feel about being eliminated? I mean, on hindsight, would you both have done that challenge differently?
Oh gosh, that was The Amazing Race is really like one of my favorite shows of all time. And I've always dreamt of like going on there. And truthfully, even among my friends in college, we would always talk about like, would I be your Amazing Race friend or partner, or would you be? And I was like, no, you wouldn't be, although it would be entertaining. You're not fast enough or something like that. So it was kind of like a running joke among my friends. And I always kind of used that as a measure of like, my partner in life, so actually on our first date with Nick, besides like asking like, what her Chinese sign was, which was like the perfect one. She was a tiger and I'm a horse.
No,
and a dog and I'm a horse. She fit that. But then I knew from like the other things, like she's athletic, she's, she's beautiful, she's fun, she's funny, all those things. I was like, ooh, I think she would be a really good Amazing Race partner. And I think like the next day or a couple days later, I actually went online and looked up when auditions were. So even then, 5 years ago, I knew that I wanted to be on the race with her.
Yeah, it's funny. Like Lisa said, she measured like her friendships with people based on whether or not she thought she'd go on the race with them. So she definitely like,
a little. And it's like it's crazy because I'm kind of obsessed, but not obsessed. I don't know everything about the show, but I definitely know that it's like one of the key things. Like if I were ever to be on the show, who can get me on the show? But I didn't marry Nick to get me on the show.
One thing that was funny about us meeting is that when so I'm called Nick, which is quite sort of like a masculine name, it sounds. So when I contacted Lisa, for our blind date, she said, what do you look like? And I said, well, over text message.
This is like 30 minutes before you're supposed to meet.
Yeah, because I was arriving at the restaurant and I said, oh, I have brown hair and I'm wearing shorts. So Lisa pictured like, Nick, this super butch masculine with short mannish haircut and big cargo shorts.
Yeah, I totally imagine her in the cargo shorts. And I had to say, like, this wasn't my first blind date. The last blind date, the person kind of just showed up like that. So I was like, oh, what the hell, man? It's Friday night. I'm getting all, dressed up. And it's like, oh, she's not even trying. Ugh. So I just, like, changed to something really casual. So.
And what's funny is that meanwhile, I showed up to the date in, like, stiletto heels, little booty shorts, like all dressed up, decked out, lipstick, fedora hat. I was totally dressed up. So Lisa was thrown, because I'm certainly not masculine. But anyway, so Lisa proposed to me, proposed the idea of going to the race. And I'm, like, generally speaking, quite a spontaneous and, like, adventurous person. So for me, it was a no-brainer. I just... it was her dream, so I said absolutely, and I'm super competitive and super athletic, so I just considered it like, heck yeah, let's go win this competition.
Yeah.
So.
I like the fact how you choose your partner based on whether she's a suitable candidate for the Amazing Race. It's like Amazing Race goes. The standard is really high. I mean, you need to possess like certain characteristics, certain attributes, certain abilities to be a good race partner.
Hi, I'm Nick.
I'm Lisa.
And we're on the Amazing Race Asia Season 5.
So when both of you joined Amazing Race Asia, what were you hoping to achieve?
We were hoping, I personally just wanted to do as many challenges as possible, which is ironic because we did the opposite of that. And then later when we got like more, like we started buying our backpacks and we started like, working on, like, we worked on our communication skills with each other. We were like, you know what? We can do this. Let's just freaking win it. Let's just win this whole thing. We were, so we wanted to like win so that we can use the money for, our baby making for IUIs. Cause we have to do that.
Right. So yeah, we're just, starting a So we've been married like, 2.5 years now. So we're really excited to start a family now. So certainly for our, for us as an alternative family, it costs us a lot of money to do those procedures. So we were really looking forward to using the money for that. And the other thing, I mean, in terms of, for me, obviously we wanted to win. Everybody joins a competition to win, certainly. But for us too, one of our favorite pastimes as a couple is travel. Since we met, we've traveled to 15 countries together. So over the past 5 years. So we really love to travel. And also I was really excited to be the first LGBT couple ever to be on any Asian network. So I was just, I felt so honored and humbled just to represent, and sort of normalize our type of, family and couple. So.
Okay, I watched the show, so I followed it from the beginning. So I did see the pilot episode. How do you both of you feel about being eliminated? I mean, on hindsight, would you both have done that challenge differently?
Lisa and Nicole, that compass is incorrect. At this point, you don't need to search for any more compasses because all 10 of the correct compasses have already been found.
Right.
I'm sorry to tell you that you have been eliminated from the race.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Oh, thank you all so very much. Oh my God. We did our absolute best. Absolutely crushed. I love you. Oh. We were at the start line and Alan Wu revealed to us this shocking fact, which was one team would be eliminated before they even got to start the race. And what was really amazing about that moment is Lisa looked at me. I'll never forget it. Lisa looked at me in terror and I rarely see her shaken. Like she's just a really strong sort of like grounded individual. Usually I'm more emotional, but she looked at me like shaken and was like, oh my God. And I looked at her, and this is actually how I felt. I wasn't doing it to be strong for her. I said to her very matter of factly, I said, honey, it could never be us. Because in my opinion, I mean, there's no way. We were such fierce competitors. We were extremely physically fit, extremely well connected. We're married. We're communicate so well. We're both women. We're both super savvy. We were the oldest people on the race. You know, we just felt that we had so many things in our favor. I looked at her and said, there is no way, darling. Don't worry. And so we were super confident. So Alan Wu says, go. The challenge was to run through the park.
What did you say? It's like out of 11 teams. He was like, you see that there are 11 teams here, but only 10 get to run the race.
Right. So the first challenge was to run to a location where the challenge was and locate a compass, which was pointing to 220 degrees. Now, when you arrived there, as you can sort of see on this show, that there were 1,000 compasses. So, and, of course, everybody knows 220 southwest. So certainly, you learn when you're 8 years old, north, south, east, west, and everybody knows that it was going to be in the lower left quadrant. However, there were lots of, wrong answers that were nearly correct. And there were only 10 that were correct. And the biggest place where we went wrong is instead of taking a fast route through the park, we sort of ran like a long route through the park. We thought we had to sort of run in a certain way, stay on the road, and we ran like a really long route, which is basically put us at a major disadvantage when we arrived. So it was like already, it's a chance task. It's not really based on skill. It's really based on just searching and luck. So we really felt upset that it wasn't something based on skill, because we feel like we could have crushed it otherwise.
Well, yeah. And also, like, Nick and I looked at this race as like it was always a marathon, not a sprint. A marathon, not a sprint. I mean, we even said it right before Alan said, oh, suddenly there's going to be 10 teams instead of 11. We're like, whoa, actually it's a sprint, not a marathon. So we're like, we freaked out, but we always said, like, in the clue, like we said, okay, when we read the clue, we're just going to read the clue. Okay, Nick, you're going to rip it open. You're going to read it. I'm going to listen to you. And then we're going to have to, like, make sure that we understand. We'll make eye contact. All right. Got it. Go. So even in the show, you can actually see us running alone. So, we took the time to read the clue carefully. We took a long route. So then by the time we got to the location of the challenge, there were like all the teams, but they were like almost on their way out. Like they were all there, and then suddenly, okay, they got it, they left. They got it, they left. And then before we knew it, like 2 minutes in or 3 minutes in, there were only 3 teams left. So the person who like gauged who my partner is according to, how they fit in the Amazing Race, this thing was this was my baby. And I suddenly realized it was just disappearing right before my eyes. So I just panicked. Just like, I never panicked or had never been in a situation like that before, but I completely lost it. I couldn't like even imagine just standing there looking for this one compass left. Cause then at that time it was only Eric, Rona, and us. So out of the 1,000, there was only one more compass left, and I couldn't just like scan through the whole thing. That's what Nick was doing. And I was just like, just grab this one. So
yeah, so we had at that moment, desperation sets in, and I think, you change as according to sort of that emotional state. And for me, I wanted to be systematic and go through like 1, 2, 3, go down the line, move over, go up the line, move over, go down the line. And Lisa sort of, panicked and was like, just bring this, so it was a total bummer. And what Lisa was referring to as like a marathon, not a sprint, is that like in the Amazing Race, as you see, you always can recover. you know, you make fatal mistakes, but you always have a chance to recover because it's a long leg. But with that, there was no chance for recovery.
Yeah, it's quite difficult though, because I was like looking at it, I don't think, like, if I was a contestant in the race, I would also have problems. Like, I mean, of course, like you said, we all know what is 220 degrees, but when you're faced with 1,000 compasses with like only a few minutes, you'll be like, oh shit, how do I start? Like, wow, everything looks about the same after a while. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, they all look like 7 o'clock. Basically, that's what it looks like. So there was like 7 o'clock, and then there was like 8 o'clock. A lot of 8 o'clocks, a lot of 7 o'clocks. So then it was like 6 and 12 o'clock. But then there was like, you know, the Southwest one, it was like 7 or 8 o'clock. But there were only a few of the 7 o'clocks. So
yeah, so basically, you know, we just felt that, you know, we weren't really. I guess, you know, the producers knew full well that they cast 11 teams, only allowing 10 to race. And it was just such a shock for us and total letdown because we didn't even get to touch the race. You know what I mean? I mean, we didn't even get to run a leg, so.
You both are the first ever LGBT couple to be ever featured in the show or even possibly on any Asian network. So what kind of attention have you received from everyone so far? Like,
so straight away, like right out of the gates when the teams were exposed, so when they showed who was cast, we got like contacts on Instagram and Facebook and Messenger and things from just random LGBT couples like around the region, like in Singapore and Thailand and Philippines, saying like, we love you guys, go LGBT. And even from some people that tried out for the race that were also LGBT but didn't get in, they were like, you take it, you do it for us. So it was immediately like this little family, this little like fan group formed around us straight away from the LGBT community. So that was really special for us.
Yeah, it was special. And it's funny, it wasn't like, it was kind of cut from our clips from, you know, the race, but what we felt the most pain from, like when we just got eliminated and the whole time we're gone, we were just so disappointed in letting everyone down, letting down the LGBTQ community, letting down our friends, letting down Vietnam. It was just like, oh wow, we really just disappointed everyone.
We just sort of felt like a responsibility to the community, and we know that, you know, certainly in our country where we come from, things are more sort of progressive. Well, in some ways and in some ways not, certainly. But in Asia, we know that it's important to have, you know, alternative couples in the spotlight to sort of normalize it. And we were just like, you know, we took it really seriously, and we wanted to sort of like show our love and show how connected we are and show how normal we are. And that, you know, when you're gay, you don't have to abandon dreams of just like a normal life with marriage and kids. And anyway.
Yeah, I think, to answer your question, it has been all positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I like that part. It was really sad to see both of you being eliminated because like, but then you both were all holding hands. I thought it was really sweet.
You know, it's funny when, Louise and Treasury, cause we all got to talk to each other eventually at like the end. And, they were like, you guys were like so cute because you guys were always talking to each other. You were always holding hands. And it was just like, yeah. And I feel like sometimes the show didn't want us to, cause they were really weird about it. They were like, okay, you guys can be yourselves, but then like, ooh, maybe like not so much sometimes. I think it was depending on the promo, right, Nick?
Right.
Like if it was being promoted in Indonesia or something, they're like, ooh,
or
like,
Malaysia.
Cause we have an HRC, rainbow bracelet, and then they're like, okay, can you turn it around so the rainbow doesn't show?
Yeah, so I think it was like...
Wait, so the funny thing is like, no matter how they wanted to show us on the show, we were always holding or touching each other somehow, like either, you know, by, you know, hand holding or like hand on the shoulder or something like that. Even if they tried to like cut that off, they would have to cut us completely not to show us touching.
Yeah, like we were just like a really sweet connected couple. And I think, you know, when the teams sort of met, even though we couldn't talk, like all the teams really saw that and they were like, oh, you guys are the sweetest. And we didn't get to like show that in the race, but yeah. A prediction for the winners, I'd have to say we really respect all of our competitors. It seems that they're all strong teams. I wouldn't be surprised if any one of them won.
Stay with me, love. Stay with me.
We thought we were going to go all the way to the finale, and we got out before we even started. So, mistakes happen, things happen. So
Right. Anything
even
can
the
happen.
strongest teams could be the next ones eliminated.
Who will be eliminated next? I mean,
I don't know.
For us, we're sad for whoever it is. We now that we don't have the opportunity to win, I mean, we just want the best possible outcome for each person. Of course,
Yeah.
people have to be eliminated, right? That's the game.
As a LGBT couple, how do you think it's different being one in Asia as compared to the States where you're from?
It's definitely different. It's just a little quieter. Like, Americans, we're just so proud. We're like loud and proud. We're more showy about it.
Yeah, and I think in terms of like how we're treated, like a lot of times in the US, a lot of the opposition and hate comes from sort of religious reasons. And here in Vietnam, where we live, the majority of people are Buddhist. So people who are Buddhist do not have any inherent sort of like problem with, it's like love is love. And so here we really don't experience anything. So yeah, any problems.
Not outward negativity. And I don't think we would.
Yeah.
If Nick and I were like just walking down the street together holding hands, I really doubt that any person would say anything to us
Never.
in Asia. Whereas like I feel like if we did that in the States, especially like Trump states, they would definitely like probably come up to us and say it to our faces.
Yeah, so
which
I
is
think
scary.
Yeah, and I think also here, like, there's a level of, privacy, there's a level of respect, and there's also, people are very affectionate, at least, in Vietnam, people are affectionate people, so it's not, like, unheard of for people to be sort of close to each other and holding hands. And finally, I think it's been really fun sort of traveling around the region, and now, especially since we were given the spotlight from the race, like this big sort of LGBT rainbow unicorn spotlight cast on us. Now we realize that like, let's give back and like, let's try to invigorate the community and connect people. So we've been traveling around and connecting with LGBT folks, like, and we do feel like because the communities are smaller here and more underground, they're actually more connected. So we feel like a super strong family around the region. So.
I heard that both of you plan to start a family. So, can you share with us your plans? Like, how do you intend to start a family?
Yeah, we tried a couple times. So, I'm butchier than Nick. So it's surprising when people think like that I'm the one who's gonna
carry a baby.
Yeah, first. But I'm also the oldest. So I'm 38. Mm-hmm. So I'm going first. And the reason why, that I'm doing it is because we both want to have 2 kids. And
well, we each want to have a child.
I'm sorry. Yes. And also, since we have to use a donor, the only way that we can get like a piece of us is if one of us carries the baby. So I want to have a mini Nick and Nick wants to have a mini Lisa. So this was the best way we could do like two kids and having a piece of us.
Yeah, and we also want to stay true to like our biracial, roots and our ethnic roots and have children that represent us. So yeah, we started the process and prayers that it will work soon.
Cool. Yeah. I hope to hear good news. And I couldn't believe that you're 38 years old. You don't look like that at all.
I know.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I'm the oldest on the race, but like by 4 years.
By a lot. Cuckoo. Yeah. It was so funny. We looked around and nobody really thought we were the oldest. We weren't like, hobbling around like old people. We were just like, oh wow, these are little kids we're racing against.
Like early 30s at most. I didn't expect Lisa to be 38. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Asian genes, man.
I'm lucky. I married well.
So what's up for both of you? Like, I heard that you both want to start an organization for the queer community in Vietnam.
Yes, so basically what we decided to do was we were getting lots of media attention, and we decided to use that to help the LGBT community here. So it's specifically for women. It's called Les Come Out, like LES, Come Out. It's a meetup series, and we're just, it's the first of its kind in Saigon. So it consists of parties, and it creates like a queer safe space. We feel like the women here need a space that's specifically women, specifically queer, and we just want to bring about information sharing, story sharing, and collaboration. Yeah, and fun.
Yeah, I think the first point was just to have fun and have people get an opportunity to get together and see each other face to face.
Yeah, because we felt like sort of the community here is quite fragmented, and like they're connected online, but not really in person. Number one. Number two, like the expat lesbians and the local lesbians are not connected, so we wanted to connect that.
And also the community here in Saigon or in Vietnam are not connected with the rest of Southeast Asia, which is a shame because they're awesome communities in the other countries.
Yeah, and we feel like
the Singapore community is really strong.
Yeah, really awesome. And we feel like a lot of that has to do with the language. With Vietnam, not as many Vietnamese speak, English as compared to a lot of Asia. So we really wanted to help them, connect, help Vietnamese connect with, lesbians in Korea and lesbians in Singapore, and just to make them feel more supported. And the last point is that we feel like a lot of the LGBT, lesbian, queer women are so focused in activism that they forget to have fun. They're focusing all their efforts on, which of course is super important, right? Passing laws, making sure that you get your rights and all of that important stuff. But finally it's like, hey man, let's have a party together. So that's sort of our piece.
Sounds great. Yeah, everybody loves a good party.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
So you guys did really well in this challenge. So here's your ticket to the next pit stop. The last team to check in is eliminated. Good luck, ladies.
Thanks, Raven. Thanks so much for having us and hearing our story.
Well, folks, we have come to the end of another wacky episode of Tomboy T-Rad. If you want to hear more of us, don't forget to subscribe to Tomboy T-Rad on iTunes or Stitcher. The show is also available for free streaming on our website, where you will find all sorts of stuff on being a funny geek tomboy in space-time today. Check it out at www.tomboy-tarts.com. And if you just want to connect with us outside of the show, we are also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Tumblr. Just type Tomboy Tarts. Want to advertise, collaborate, or appear on this podcast or on our blog? Then drop us an email at hello@tomboy-tarts.com. That's hello@tomboy-tarts.com. We are everywhere, guys. See you in another 2 weeks with a brand new episode. Joanna, Persis, Cindy, and myself, Raven. Ciao!